Good morning and welcome back to another episode of NexusCraft. Tridents are dropped by the drowned and can be held or thrown, but they're not spawned by drowned that are spawned from zombies. They have to be wild spawned drowned. I did not get a chance to read the other tooltip in time, because I was explaining that the drowns that hold tridents, as well as nautilus shells, are not converted from zombies, but are spawned as drowned, holding those items. Get all situated here. Okay. Now, as you can see, I have this massive build that I have been working on. That actually goes out of render distance. There we go. Now you can see all the way down there. Yeah, I have this massive build that I've been working on. These reserved for anything yet? Doesn't look like it. Oh, I'm on the wrong corner for it. Nothing on that one. Regular stone on this one. Yeah, that's a good way to check and see if they're just reserved for anything. This one's cobblestone. This one's dirt. That one's regular stone. Additionally, what I can do is I can grab some leather with a lot of sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I need to make a lot more sticks. Then the planks. Ooh, I am running real low on logs. Okay. Now this will allow me to actually visually mark out what each of these are reserved for. For example, I can sit here and I can place on the second to last one a picture frame, or an item frame, sorry. An item frame and a piece of cobblestone. And then over here we can have an item frame. We sneak, place item frame, unsneak, switch to dirt, place dirt in item frame, put away dirt. And we can go through and we can reserve each section that way. Withdraw the stone, place stone in item frame, deposit the stone. And since these aren't reserved yet, we can actually just place the item frame and continue on, because they don't have anything in them yet. You know, what are we going to do? Have a specific one reserved for slime? We're not that rich in slime yet. Maybe if we actually turned one of these slime chunks into a slime farm, then perhaps. Speaking of which, if I did that, this place would just be completely loaded with slime farms. We would definitely have a snow farm active and running pretty much the entire time. Okay. Now for the fun part of the day, finding out how much ore we managed to make off of the previous day. Or previous recording session, really. To be honest, my recordings are getting a massive delay in their release times because of how YouTube is handling processing my videos. If YouTube was processing my videos faster, I would be able to release the videos faster. However, I am on a very, very slow laptop, which means if I want to have my videos processing at any decent quality speed, I can't really be doing anything with it, like at all. Just the whole concept of utilizing the machine as intended is a moot point, because I can't actually utilize the machine as intended. Utilizing the machine as intended would require me to actually be able to do anything at a acceptable rate of speed. And so far, I don't really have that. I don't have an acceptable rate of speed on my device. I am actually getting a lot of diamonds. Huh. Fascinating. Okay. Now, did I have any spare pickaxes? I got Silk Touch 1 Unbreaking, Fortune 3. Oh, I can create another Fortune subscribe pickaxe. Yeah, the Fortune subscribes are pretty powerful. Problem is, I need Silk Touch ones a lot better. If it ever becomes somewhat overbalanced of Fortune to Silk Touch, I can combine the Silk Touch with the Fortune in order to force it to decide whether or not to use Fortune or Silk Touch. How much is this? 5? I don't need to repair it yet, but I will want to repair it soon. Subscribe. Okay. That's another subscribe pickaxe. Of the Fortune variety. The Silk Touch pickaxe could use some minor repairs, let's say. Let's see if we can get those extra enchantments. Oh, right. I forgot that. Smooth stone smelting is currently paused. I do have an entire double chest of smooth stone in addition to what's in those barrels. Yeah, I've got all of this. How's this coming along? Nothing in the hopper above. Let's see what kind of experience we can get from this. from this blast furnace, if we will. Nope, too late. Oh well. I will be turning these on again eventually. It's just a matter of fuel. I am actually starting to dig into the coal that I have available. Therefore, I don't want to get too carried away with what I'm doing. Let's see. I wanted a storage for my gravel, right? Might as well collect up my gravel then. I'll just throw it all on the ground here. That way I can A, pick up the majority of it pretty much right away, and B, I can actually just run over here to make a return trip. I don't need to go opening the storage chest. Oops, did not mean to place that. This is a good moment for me to mention that if you enjoy my content, this is a good time to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe. Helps me, helps the channel. Tells YouTube that this is the type of content that it should suggest. At least to you, or to people similar to you, people with similar interests. I'm thinking about this item frame placement, and I don't really like it. I think I'm going to go with right here instead. Now I can just go ahead and start dumping gravel in here because I didn't actually expect to pause to fight something. I didn't expect to reposition the item frame. You know, I didn't expect that. These items don't exactly care whether or not I expected it. I'll just store them in the chest. Because I do not want these gravels to despawn. Okay. Now I'll throw these on the ground over here because now I can actually put them in the proper locations in their proper barrel. which is to say that I am able to properly store them in the proper order, which is I fill up this row first, then this row, then this row, then this row, etc. You know, fifth row down there. And then if I need to, I will fill up this row, but this row is mostly for transferring items from the upper floor to the lower floor. So it's used to bring gravel down here without needing to actually run down here and deposit it. It's just this massive bulk storage for gravel that I theoretically should probably never need to actually fill up. Theoretically. Now, I can actually go around. Oops. I can go around and place the item frames in the same orientation as the gravel. Not rotate. There we go. That way I don't actually cover up one of the barrels. Because it can be quite difficult to aim around an item frame. You know, I mean, it's doable. Like I just did it right there just to demonstrate. But it's difficult. Hi, slime. Bye, slime. As you can tell, there is a lot of slime in this sector. But more importantly, there is a lot of ore. Now, I have not yet gotten mending enchantment, and I am running a little bit low on food that isn't just carrots or, you know, baked potatoes. Nighttime. Straight into the bed. I expect this kelp farm has a lot of kelp in its queue, therefore I shall manually fire it off by just breaking this redstone, placing the redstone, making sure no kelp gets caught here. Yep. That's a pretty common occurrence. However, as we hop up here, we will notice that our efforts have somewhat paid off, as this begins to really start filling up with kelp. And it really starts to show in these lower chests because everything's just being crammed in. Well, what that has caused is for us to have harvested a stack and a half without even really trying. Yeah, that's a lot of kelp. So it's really showing just what kind of experience this thing can generate once you actually start seeing what its actual output is. The thing is, it's still filling up these overflow chests. Therefore, you're not going to see its full output for a decent while. Alternatively, I could just rip out these overflow chests, which is a half-decent plan as it is on a chunk border, which I don't really enjoy, specifically right here. It's unfortunate, but at least it keeps the kelp growing. If I go too far in one direction or another, it will ensure that that chunk stays loaded. Unlike the pool here, which is all inside one chunk, but as you can see, the pool's chunk does not seem to be loaded in when we are down in the mine. We seem to be too far north. Which is why we don't get much lag when we're down there. This pool, this lake, is quite laggy. And the reason it's laggy is specifically because of the kelp. This is something that it's just a part of the kelp. Kelp is laggy because it's an animated block, therefore it's just going to generate a lot of lag. It's just the way it is. There's not much you can really do about it. Like, I don't really understand how they optimize the playback of a block such as kelp, where it's just constantly playing on a loop, because you constantly have that play command going off and triggering. You could maybe use the cache, the local cache, or perhaps the RAM to keep the block in active loaded memory, which would reduce machine stress, but I don't know if there's really anything to be done about just the fact that it is laggy. Like, there's little tricks you can do to reduce the lag of animated pictures, but most of it is just pre-allocation of memory, which is not exactly the best method, because most of the time that's just the RAM, and the RAM is I think it's the read access memory, which is not the best location for the storage of persistent segments. If you're going to use something that is persistent, you really should use it in the persistent memory, not the read access memory, or random access memory as it's sometimes known. You know, it's just called RAM. That's all it's called. It's computer hardware. It's not even in all devices. Some devices just use computing with no type of memory whatsoever. And those devices tend to be extremely simple, like a calculator. Not one of these modern calculators, mind you. No, those are very smart. I'm talking about like the original calculators, like the type that you give a grade schooler or preschooler because you don't trust them with the real thing because you think they might break it. They probably will. So yeah, by comparison, I just harvested my pond there. Got a little over 3 stacks of kelp. This thing harvested got a stack and a half. Now, mind you, this thing will harvest itself. Therefore, it's a little bit of an unfair comparison to just compare them side by side, like 1v1 type of situation. 1-to-1, this one is smaller. So, of course, this one will be less efficient. However, this one can run without me showing up and harvesting the entire place. This one, however, requires me to come through every now and then and actually like collect all the kelp. You know, I gotta break all the kelp, I gotta collect all the kelp, and roughly the time frame that I do that is the same time frame for this to look almost completely grown and then for it to finish growing again, because that time frame always seems to be the slowest for whatever reason. We do still have our bell from when we visited the village. Yep, still works. Some illager banners still decorating the place. That's the entrance to our mine. That's World Spawn, right over there. Let's go pay World Spawn a visit. See how it looks. Probably the same as we left it. Yep, looks the same as we left it. Well, a little bit different. There's more pumpkins in view. Not bad looking. Still no lights in that direction. Ow. Yeah, this is definitely starting to look a lot better. The entire place is starting to appear much cleaner. Once I get this mountain cleared out and that mountain cleared out, and then I can get started on this mountain, but first I'm going to clear out this side and that side, because I'm just going to want to just carve into the mountain itself, because this thing's a behemoth of a mountain. Therefore, I'm just going to want to go through and just carve into it, and it's going to take a long time. Like, yeah, this thing stretches all the way over to there. From over there. Oof. That's a hefty beast. So I'm going to want to get cleared out over here. I'm going to want to just start like carving into this thing. Yeah, it's going to be a massive, massive task. Pardon me, Mr. Pig, but might I have some pork chops? And they even cooked them for me. How nice of them. Let's see. Yeah, we've still got to carve out this hill, though. But that's not what I am up here for. I suppose I can watch the sunset from atop the mountain. Or technically atop the base, because base is right over here. Like, this is my base. Right over here is the bedroom. Or where the bedroom used to be before I took the bed out. Oh yeah, we get a much better view of the sun over here. This is my storage room. And then over here we have my dirt room where I stored my dirt at one point. It's not full of dirt anymore. Okay, moon's out. Now I'm going to go run away. And leap into this bed over here. There we go. Now it is daytime. I can go through, make sure that any zombies that spawned didn't wander up here. And if they did, yeah, looks like some had spawned in the distance. No, that was just lava. Do a quick patrol around the place, see if there were any undeads. Not seeing any. One thing I have not had to worry too much about in my stay at this specific location is drowned. I have not had to worry about drowned. Which is great, because drowned are annoying. Oh, actually I do want to grab these and these and these. Because I want to go harvesting more of my pumpkins to create more lanterns. The reason why I want more lanterns is because it will allow me to light up my base. I go through a lot of lanterns in the process of lighting up my base. I am aware of this. I kind of utilize lanterns specifically for this purpose. These little carved pumpkins are, well, I guess they're not really little if they're roughly 3 cubic feet. But these carved pumpkins really go a long way. They're also supposed to be good if you don't want to anger the Enderman, which is great if you're ever visiting the end, but I don't really visit the end all that much. Mostly because the nearest end city, or the nearest end portal would be roughly 1,000 blocks away, I think it was. Yeah, it's a nice long distance away, I know. Okay, I'll tell you what, these roses are getting in the way, so I'm gonna have to do it this way. I just gotta do it 2 rows at a time. This was the other benefit of doing this underground, was I didn't have a bunch of flowers getting in my way because I was doing it too close to my other constructions. Well, at least I know the Endermen are suffering. Because it's raining, therefore they're all sitting there going, "The sky is acid." It's like, no, that's just your allergy to water. Quite painful, really. What an amazing allergy. I want to study it further. Can you please sit still? Stop teleporting so much. Sit still. It's like, no, it's hurting. I teleport every time I receive pain. It's like, not every time. How do you know that? No reason. It's like, were you the one who murdered all of my friends? No. What would make you think that? Wipes blood off. As you can see, I have a lot of pumpkins. And the reason I have so many pumpkins is not because I've been steadily coming up here and harvesting pumpkins while also making sure to, mine out the entirety of the underground down there. No. Instead, I've been gaining pumpkins because I set up a bunch of pistons to fire anytime one of those stems updates, or specifically anytime one of the stems in the center updates. I don't really need the stems watched on the outer ring, specifically because I am aware of the fact that if a pumpkin grows alongside one of those stems, no matter how many other stems there are in the area, if there are any fully grown stems in the cardinal directions of a freshly grown pumpkin, all of the stems will attach to that pumpkin. Therefore, I don't need to actually watch the outer sections with observers. I only need to watch the intersections with observers. Oh. Well, that's a little problematic, isn't it? There we go. That's better. Oh, hold on. Gotta handle this goat. Yeah, you're a menace. Okay. Nautilus shell for 5 emeralds, 2 small drip leaves for 1 emerald. glowstone for 2 emeralds, 3 lime dye for 1 emerald, 1 sugar cane for 1 emerald, 1 bucket of pufferfish for 5 emeralds. The glowstone's kind of interesting, but other than that, yeah, no, not really. Not really interested. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Most of the time, the wandering trader will not have anything very useful. Yeah. Now you can see the true use of the kelp farm. Or more specifically, the true use of the pond of kelp. The true power of a kelp farm is not measured in 1 or 2 farms worth of kelp. No, it's measured in how much kelp you have in your moat, in your lake, in your pond. The true value of the kelp is measured in the vast quantities in which the forests of kelp can grow. Kelp forests, fortunately, in real life, are additionally one of the best sources of carbon footprint reduction in the world. They absorb ungodly amounts of the carbon footprint. I'd say it's inhuman amounts, but let's face it, it's a plant. Of course it's inhuman. It's not human in the first place. No one ever suggested that kelp was human. Because kelp is not human. Kelp is kelp. You know? Okay, let me just collect up all the kelp along the edges here just by skimming along the ledge. I really do need to find some way to get this all easily collected. I think I know of a way that would work. At the very least, it would allow me to gather it all in a central location, which is kind of good enough, really. What I would have to do is I would have to fill this place up at the top with half slabs. I would waterlog the half slabs as upper slabs so that kelp can't grow into it, but any floating kelp will float into it. And I'm probably going to want a lower half slab on top of that in order to put the in order to stop the spawns, or I could just put another lantern. I mean, I've got a lot of them. Speaking of which, it appears I have gathered 4.5 stacks this time. In fact, here, let me just bloop. Just plop them all in this one. There we go. I mean, they're not reserved now, which, yeah, okay. But, well, I'm gonna be honest, if anything else ever fell in here, yeah, I suppose I want it reserved. And this is the way you reserve these chests like that. In case you wondered, you just long press and just drag and drop. Fill it all in, trying to fill it evenly, but because you're filling in literally an entire stack's worth of spaces, almost, it's 9 times 6, which is a decently sized number. As you can see. But yeah, as the various reserved spaces are filled in, it prevents me from, for example, losing my shears in there. Let's say I managed to have a creeper blow me up as I'm standing here waiting for these things to, to float up to the surface. Let's say I lose my shears in there. Okay, there's my shears. I just threw my shears in. Here, I'll even harvest everything just to simulate, worst case scenario. Oh no, my shears are in there and it's harvesting. What do I do? You can see my shears right there with everything else. But because I reserved all of those spaces, I don't need to go all the way up here to watch my shears float by helplessly, and I'm sitting there going, well, I don't want an inventory full of kelp. I'm not jumping in there. What am I going to do? Well, if I look over here, I will find that as the kelp starts flowing in, my shears will flow in as well. And they're actually all the way down here by now, I believe. Yep, there they are. Shears. Just as I had left them. Now I've also got another half a stack of kelp, which grew in the same amount of time as the other 4.5 stacks of kelp grew from the pond over there. Someone once asked me, what's the difference between a lake and a pond? Or was it a lake and a pond? I think it was a lake and a pond. The difference is not much, actually. As far as environments go, as far as ecosystems go, there really isn't too much difference between a lake and a pond. Some people would try and tell you different, but no, there really is very little difference between a lake and a pond. They operate within the same functions, really, the same boundaries. Therefore, there's really not that much difference. As a result, right, the bone block is stored in the moat. And on top of that, I now have a full stack of bone blocks. Therefore, I want to go running over here really quick in order to prevent things from chasing me. Because the next thing I want to do is run to a bed. That way it stops raining. And on top of that, it becomes daytime. we get a nice little view of the kelp farm before we head underground. But first, we get to watch and see if anything... first we get to watch and see if we have any water in here. Yes, we do. This whole thing is full of water. This is all rainwater. So this is fresh water. I created this water. Haha! That is a water source worth of water. Before I head down, I should go ahead with putting away the leads. Because I don't want to carry around a bunch of leash type collar things. Running all the way back to the base. And away we go. Okay. Here we are, back in the mine. Deep underground. And we have forgotten to grab the gravel. Well, that's unfortunate. We shall rectify that situation very soon. However, first, we have a rather bright idea of just simply crafting a bunch of lanterns. And boy, did that craft rapidly. Another 36 lanterns. Another 36 torches for another 22 lanterns. I can reclaim this coal and additionally turn that into torches as well, bringing me up to 30. However, I don't need to specifically craft bunches of extra torches. I can bring these leads up. I could make a storage reserved for smooth stone and just feed this tons and tons of kelp. But I'm kind of using all of my kelp to build up my stockpile of kelp. I'm planning on creating a gigantic lake of kelp. Like a full-on, I'm thinking a 5-chunk by 5-chunk lake bed of kelp. I'll just have a flying machine run through it and harvest all of the kelp. That's what I'm thinking. But in order to do that, I'm going to need a lot of kelp. Let's see, I'm up here putting away extra resources that don't need to be stored down below, such as a leash or lead used to lead animals about. I can deposit the torches in there. That way I know when I have an ample supply. Go ahead and eat. Right. Before I forget again. Oh, that was another thing I was going to do. A moss block storage. I don't really have any use for moss block storage, though. Like, I don't have a use for that much moss. Yeah, I'm just going to transfer all of this stuff down here, or all of this stuff up here to downstairs, just all at once. Because I'm going to be honest, it is a bit of a pain in the butt